When we move into the new arena of blogging, this is where we really have to dig deep into what communication really does for a company, and especially in the process of making construction work. As we've said before, construction is a much more complicated industry than a lot of people think, and being a specialty contract further increases that complexity. So, what we're really trying to do in the construction side of the game is very important in how well that is communicated. And blogging gets into a lot of that type of stuff. And there's a lot of pros and cons related to blogging. I'm sure you've heard them a million times. Oh, you shouldn't use blogs, or wow, these blogs just saved me the other day. So, and when I look at it, and several of us have sat down and talked as senior project managers, what we find is if I'm having a very difficult technical issue and I'm trying to get it resolved and my vendors can't answer it, I can't get any engineer to come up and step up to the plate and say, oh, here's what we need to do. That's when I dig into the blogs. And the blogs allow you to go look things up like 1,000, amp, 480 volt, 3-phase, 4-wire, breaker. And it's got a ground trip interrupter in it, and on and on and on. And I'm trying to calibrate it or something like that. I can actually make a search and we'll find meaningful information based on that deep of a search. And by looking at it, you may find, and sometimes you get lucky, that somebody else somewhere along the line had exactly the same problem and figured out how to fix it. And you're going to be surprised at how many other project engineers are doing some forms of blogging here and there, especially when it comes to problems, very technical problems. And a lot of us, it's kind of a code of ethics that if we do solve a problem, we try and get it posted back to the blog so that everybody gets the advantage of that information. And that goes back to really the true spirit of the internet in the early days. That's what we all did. We blogged, and when somebody would fix one problem, another guy would fix another, and you just hit the blogs all night long until you got through and fixed your problems and hopefully fixed some others for somebody else. So, but you have to be really trained or pay attention to this, because you have to follow your training, because what is said on the internet doesn't mean it's true. And you need to have your critical thinking levels high enough to where you can see through a problem or see through when somebody's issuing a solution to it that he hasn't thought about two of the circumstances necessary just to get you to the point to where you need to get to. So critical thinking is the key in blogging, and we've made a couple of recommendations. For the reasons we just spoke of, blogging is not a readily accepted tool that's used in the business world, or at least spoken of a lot. And it really has its main merit is its ability to dive into rare problems that are not very well discussed in academic or corporate or manufacturers literature. So, and also in the blog spots, you'll find a lot of stuff about manufacturers' manuals that have been updated, or people have comments that they've added to those manuals. So you'll find a lot of that. But so what we really recommend to you guys is the first year, 2-year kind of guys, that you just don't even get into blogging at first. It really has its specific need, and that specific need is based on how well you've developed your critical thinking. And so over the first year or so, you guys are working on so many different things. As far as we've already gone through a lot of stuff with communication, and then we're going to be moving into the logs and all the stuff it takes to really do the job next. So, getting into blogging as a critical skill will come in time. As you become more and more confident with your knowledge of the industry, then you're going to be able to say, yeah, I could make a real true search for something and probably come up with a decent answer, or at least some good information to help me with. But rather than waste your time now, I would just continue to go the way you are, keep working on your critical thinking skills, and then move into blogging. So with that said, we're going to move on to the next item.